Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, was humiliated at Salzburg by EU leaders. Her aim was to persuade them to accept her so-called Chequers plan for Brexit. She was allowed 10 minutes to speak. Let me repeat that. The Prime Minister of Great Britain and Northern Ireland was allowed 10 minutes to speak about our nation's future relationship with the EU. The insult was huge, but she accepted the allocated time and made her plea for a deal. She made a plea with the Chequers plan that delivers virtually nothing that people voted for in that famous referendum 2 years ago, a plan characterised by many Brexiteers as abject surrender. When the EU leaders were presented with this humiliating surrender by our Prime Minister, they rejected it. The humiliation apparently was not deep enough. They then proceeded to make a fool of Mrs May at the summit. Photo shots with rude and boorish behaviour that no gentleman would consider, no matter what the differences you hold are. The French President even followed up by calling Brexit campaigners liars, whilst Mr Tusk mocked our Prime Minister on social media. The EU are following a well-developed plan, with help from fifth columnists inside the UK. The aim is to take such an unreasonable stance that the British government cannot achieve any kind of deal and faces humiliation in the process. They've been told by their friends in the UK, who openly admit to colluding with them, that they can rely on EU fanatics in the UK Parliament to vote against a no-deal scenario, and that this will lead to the government falling and potentially another election. The Labour Party lies ready to strike against the divided and chaotic Tory party, to seize power, quite probably with support from the odious Scottish nationalists. A Labour government would undoubtedly scupper Brexit and not enforce the referendum we had, but lead to another referendum. This would lead to even more bitterness in our country and quite possibly civil unrest. The politicians in Westminster are failing us through a combination of weakness, incompetence, and in some cases, downright treachery. They are delivering our country back into the hands of the EU superstate that we fought so many years to be free from. The time has come for we, the people, to stand up and roar that enough is enough. We are mad as hell and we are not going to take this anymore. I call on everyone who loves our country and the idea of freedom and independence to unite behind the Leave Means Leave tour and campaign in the UK. Nigel Farage is the true leader of Brexit, and he has called upon patriots to unite across party lines to make a stand for our nation's independence. The time for differences is past. Let us unite for this historic cause. We must stand resolute and defy the treachery and weakness of our politicians. Cry freedom and demand our vote is recognised. Peaceful but determined and strong, we must supply the backbone and British grit our leaders so clearly lack. This is our moment in history. If we yield or stay silent, then none of us will be truly free again. The superstate will crush all opposition and the opportunity to embrace freedom will be lost forever. We're at a turning point in European history. It is no longer enough to sit back and watch events unfold. We must be active and demonstrate our determination. The will of the people must not be crushed and freedom must never be sacrificed. Patriotic people of the UK, stand up and shout. It's now or never, and we demand independence and freedom. If we are resolute and determined, we will not fail. Let us show the faint hearts and traitors that we shall not stand by and watch them surrender our country and our democracy. For love of our country, for love of freedom, for love of democracy, stand up, people of Britain. It's time to be counted. I know you will not be found wanting. When the crunch comes, we never have. Thank you.